Backlinks are still one of the most important ranking factors in SEO, but most people think you need thousands. In this video, I'm going to show you how many you really need. In 10 years of SEO, I've learned how many and what quality of backlinks I need to implement to get results like this. This page ranks with just 105 backlinks, and we generate almost 30,000 organic visitors per month. In the info card, you see a case study for this, and I also put the link in the description. In SEO, and especially link building, a good horse only jumps as high as it needs to. But it is important to really understand what kind of links you need to implement. So stay tuned. I will show you in this video everything you need to know. First of all, we need to start with the primary keyword research. What I mean by that is that we need to identify the best keyword we want to optimize our page for, and also then do the link building for. It matters tremendously on how many links we need to implement and what kind. It also shows you if it's even realistic to rank for a keyword. Let's take this example here. Pest exterminator Nashville has a very high search volume and a fairly high difficulty to rank, especially if we look at who is ranking for this keyword. We see that domains with a very high domain authority score are ranking. We do have 2 outliers in the low end, but overall it is quite competitive. If we compare this with the keyword exterminator Nashville, we see it's a lower volume, but a lower difficulty to rank for. And this is mainly because we see that often inner pages, service pages also rank for this. So we go actually one level deeper, and we need to understand how keyword difficulty is measured in these tools. It's not just based on the authority of the overall domain, it is also on the authority of the exact page that is ranking. And that is often measured by how many links that page has. One very important thing to understand, when we talk about backlinks, we actually mean referring domains. Here it says backlinks and referring domains. What is the difference? A referring domain is the unique domain that refers to you. But if you have multiple links from one referring domain, you have multiple backlinks. This here is a good example. This page has 2 referring domains, but 3 links. That means one of the referring domains must have linked twice to this URL. And let me throw in another keyword into the mix, pest control Nashville. It has a higher search volume than exterminator and almost the same difficulty. So from the keyword data, I would pick pest control Nashville as my primary keyword to optimize my page for, and therefore use this as my research. Of course, there's an overlap, and I want to optimize ideally for all of those variations, but my primary keyword is pest control Nashville. So now let's look into the actual data to reverse engineer page 1 so we can identify the number and the quality of links we need. If we scroll through here, we are now looking at the domain level, and we see the authority score, and we do see already 1 outlier here with only 12. All the others are fairly high. But what I also do is I look at the URL level on the actual page level, and I see that there are home pages ranking that obviously have a high authority score on the page level. But I also see that some pages rank with very little links. That means with a couple of strategic links, I could rank my page for that keyword. This is the overview level. Now what I'm going to do is I need to go through each of those pages and really understand and analyze them. Let's do this on one example. Thrive Pest Control has a pretty high authority score and ranks very well. When I analyze a competitor, I'll look here at 2 things. One is the SEO, the authority of the topic. How can I identify this? I write down how many keywords they have and how much traffic it generates. And then I look at how many pages are ranking. So they have 329 pages in the SERPs. That means they have a lot of authority for their topic, pest control exterminator. You might wonder, why does it matter for backlinks? But I will get to this at the end when we bring everything together. So stay tuned. In order to identify the backlink authority, we need to look into the backlink profile. First, obviously, we look at the overall number of referring domains, but I will show you in just a second that this number alone doesn't mean anything. Similarly, we look at the authority score, not isolated, but just as a reference. The authority score is a metric by those tools. Unlike the value of SEMrush, because in my opinion, it's the most accurate, but even that can be gamed and manipulated, especially in tools like Ahrefs and Moz, the DR or DA can be easily manipulated with a Fiverr gig for $20. I really like the SEMrush score compared to the others because they just take more data into account here. They look into organic traffic. They look also at the link power. It's not just the DR score, which could be manipulated. And if a manipulated site links to you, you get the score juice. As I said, these numbers alone don't make sense. So let's look into the quality of the links. And I know this sounds hypocritical at first, but hear me out. I look into the allocation of the link quality. And what they do is they put them in different categories, right, by the authority score. So that way I know I need to build links within those categories to match the quality of the link profile. Another thing I look at is the distribution of the link attributes. Follow, no follow, user-generated content, for example. We can also look into those things. Nowadays, they don't matter as much because normally it is text-based backlinks. But what I see here, what I take away from this, it's a fairly small percentage of no follow links. That means I really need to build manually a lot of links because the total number, remember, is over 400 links. So this could be potentially a very expensive project, but we only know this after the analysis. Now I have to go through each of those competitors and put them in a spreadsheet. I will look something like this. Those are completely made up numbers just to show you the point. I'll look into the domains and I'll look into my own and calculate the gap to the average. Already important, take out outliers. It's important to know about them, but if there's one domain that maybe is operating on a national level while everyone else in Nashville would be a local company, it's a different story. They probably have more pages, they have more authority. So take out the outliers, but keep in mind that there are still outliers. At the end, you compete with them for rankings. So I write down the domain authority. In that case, it would be the AS authority score. I write down how many referring domains they have. I don't even care about how many backlinks. I care about how many unique domains are linking to them, how much traffic they roughly get, how many keywords they're ranking for, and how many pages. Again, on the first side, it doesn't really seem to be matter for link building, but you will see at the end why it is important to understand this. Now I know the gap that I have to build. In this arbitrage example, I need to build 11 more pages and 69 backlinks to get to the average of my competitors. What most people don't take into account is the link velocity of my competitors. Link velocity is the speed of which links appear and disappear. So basically the rate of new implemented links. If we look at our example here, we see that they had a lot of links and then lost a lot. But let's take it from here and then we see that they build links over time and then also lose them. What we can take from this insight, we can forecast if they keep the same link velocity, how many links they will have in 6 months or 12 months. Why is this important? Very logical. If I build 69 links over the next 6 months and I say, well, now I have the same amount of links as my competitors. By that time I built these links, they built already more, and I have to build 40 more links. If I expand that horizon to 12 months, the total link gap from today up until 12 months is 145 links. That seems scary. So let's step back and look into the quality of links I need to build. Again, this is not the real numbers of the Nashville example, so that the numbers don't add up here between the example I showed you. But we see in this example, the majority of links are built in the category of an authority score between 0 and 10. And if I look into my current gap, the projected 6-month gap, and the 12-month gap, and apply the average category allocation, I get a number of what my profile needs to look like in 12 months. In that case, the vast majority, 80%, are for a low quality authority. Meaning here I can use scale approaches like press release syndication or also build citations. Again, I recommend watching the case study for this video because here we used a mix of quality and quantity, and especially the press release syndication to get the early boost. So if I have the majority, 117 out of 145 links out of the way, maybe because I do now a campaign and then in 6 months time another one, my link gap that I have to build with quality links is only 30. And to put this in a tangible scope of work, we can give it a budget. We can apply a cost per link for each of those categories and then determine the total cost. And now let's bring it back to why these things matter here. If I know I have to build 11 pages and I have to build 30 links, now I can calculate the budget, what I actually need to do to achieve this. And if I have the budget I need, I can also calculate what would be the ROI, because I know, okay, I get that much traffic. Applying a conversion rate, I can estimate how much money I will generate from SEO and if the project is feasible and makes sense. In the info card, I have a video for how to calculate the ROI for SEO projects. Because an SEO project is not just link building, it is also content creation and optimization. Most proposals you will receive are backwards. Agencies start with your budget, and with that budget, they give you 3 different tiers. Tier 1, you get X amount of links and X amount of content, and the deliverable usually increases with the higher tiers. Those are arbitrage numbers and not even effective, because 11 is actually a good example. Let's assume you get a 12-month proposal. That would mean potentially first month an audit, which is bullshit in itself, and then they create 1 page every month. But with that, you will not achieve the topical authority. Once you have everything published, then you start to have the topical authority. It would be way better to start building those pages first and then do link building. And if you know the total cost, you can actually allocate the budget in a better way. Meaning maybe in the first 2-3 months, you spend the majority of your budget on content creation and then shift that budget towards link building. I hope this makes sense to you. And if you want to learn more about those bullshit agency proposals and why you should avoid them, watch the video in the info card. If you still fall for it, sorry to say, but that's then your own fault. So let's bring it all together. We identify the primary keyword we want to rank for. Maybe it's not the highest search volume, but it is the most realistic one we can rank for and still have a good search volume to keyword difficulty ratio. We then identified who are the competitors. We analyzed the competitors on how much authority they have topically and what's their off-page authority, meaning backlinks. From there, we look into in-depth what is the link allocation, and we look at the velocity on how many links they built to project where they will be in 6 or 12 months. From here, we can really reverse engineer the link gap, not just the quantity, but also the quality that we need to build in the same time frame. From here, we have our SEO scope, the content and the links. Let's put this in a budget and then get your page ranking. If this makes sense to you and you are tired of non-dynamic SEO projects, feel free to contact me and we take a data-driven approach to your SEO.